Hey everyone, welcome back to Google and welcome to the final video about Streetball All-Star on this channel. Now I know what you're thinking. How did you predict that this was going to be your final video? The answer is I didn't actually predict it. I was just being stupid. When I said on that post that the final Streetball All-Star video is going to be posted on July 8th, yeah, I was actually lying, apparently. I've only got videos scheduled up until July 7th. So, we might as well make a final tier list video so that, I'm not actually a liar and, I'm actually a good guy. I didn't lie, guys. So, yeah, we might as well make a final tier list video, and this video, this tier list, I should say, is going to be about the most fun characters to use in the entire game. Like characters that you're legitimately going to actually enjoy using. And we're going to be ranking them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this tier list. So, for the first character that we're going to be talking about, they're going to be the point guards of the game, and the first character we're going to be talking about is Albert, and he's pretty quickly going straight into very fun tier. Albert, actually, you know what, here's a short little story. Albert was actually the first point guard that I ever got, and that's why I recommend him so much for newer players, because he is genuinely very fun to use. He's a very fun character to use. He is a great passer and can actually score too. And even if you don't actually main using, a point guard, you're going to have a lot of fun with Albert. The only thing that you need to get to your mindset is it's okay to pass to your teammates. It is okay to pass to your teammates. It's okay to be a pure pass point guard or mostly pass and just slightly scoring point guard. It's okay. You're still going to do a great job, and you're actually going to have a lot of fun if that is your mindset. So, Albert, in my opinion, is in a very fun tier because if you use him properly, you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to have a lot of fun when you're using Albert. So yeah, Albert goes into the very fun tier for me. Next up, we have Becky. And I'm not going to lie, I've never actually used Becky, but from the looks of it, I think that Becky is actually a pretty fun character. I think he's going to be a pretty fun character to use, especially on defense because of how fast you are, how good your diving is, how good your passing is. It's just that, or how good your defense is. It looks really fun. It's just that I don't think it's going to be as fun as Albert or other less OP characters because, you're actually going to have to be a little bit more careful. With Becky, you don't have to be as careful. So it just takes away from the fun, in my opinion, at least for me, because I'm the sort of player that actually likes a bit of a challenge, but not too much of a challenge, So yeah, I think Becky, not at the very fun tier, but at the fun tier, with just how good her defense is, just a little bit soured by how overpowered she actually is. Next up, we have Boa. Boa has one of the most fun skills in the entire game, that with diving steal. But with the introduction of Becky, Boa just isn't as fun anymore since, Becky is there. She is basically a better Boa, Becky is basically a better Boa. That's pretty much just a fact. Becky just outclasses Boa so much, but in my opinion, Boa is still a little bit more fun than Becky, since again, her skill is not as overpowered. You're actually supposed to still be careful. And you know what? If you actually do a pretty bad dive steal, if you dive steal at a terrible time, you can be in a lot of trouble if you use Boa, and that's very fun in my opinion. That's a really good drawback. It makes her really fun. I think that having her on very high fun, but not quite at very fun, is I think it's solid. I think this is actually a solid placement for Boa. So, next up, we have Jackie. Not gonna lie, I think Jackie is not really that fun, but I wouldn't say he's the most boring character of all, you know? I don't think Jackie is too boring, but he's definitely not that fun. He's basically reduced to just being the, alright, I'm gonna screen you and you're gonna shoot a fadeaway point guard who passes if, you know, he's not wide open. That's pretty much Jackie's job, and in my opinion, it's not really the most fun placement ever. So yeah, I'm gonna put Jackie at meh, because while I do think he's not the most boring character out there, he isn't really a fun character either to actually use, at least in my opinion. So yeah, Jackie is going straight to the middle of this tier list. Now, next up, we have Justin. And in my opinion, especially after the update that they did, I never tried it. I never really tried, but I did see a couple of videos using Justin. He looks very enjoyable. Even before the update to turn back shot, I'm not gonna lie, Justin is one of the most fun characters in the game. And with that skill change on turnaround back shot, I gotta say, I think Justin is our first enjoyable tier character. He just looks so much fun right now, especially after that update. But, you know, it's just that even without that, he was already so fun. So, yeah, I think it's deserved that Justin is going to the enjoyable tier of this tier list. He's our first enjoyable character. So, next up, we have Lily. And Lily, you know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think she's actually a very fun point guard. Because of two skills in particular. One, of course, is the off-ball dash, which is always fun. You know, just targeting players, trying your best to trip them. I think that's just really fun. You know, I think there's just really something fun about that, so I'm a big fan of that. But also, Lily has such a unique ability on her level 4 screen. It's just such a unique ability that enables for a unique strategy that I gotta give Lily very fun. Granted, not the highest at very fun. I'd say she's still pretty low at very fun, but still at very fun tier still. It's just, she has such a unique ability, and not only unique ability, but also fun ability. So yeah, I think this is pretty fair. Lily's going straight to low, very fun. Next up, we have May. Now, May, if we were talking about old May, straight into unfun, okay? Straight up to unfun if we're talking about old May. New May, however, well, we're going straight into middle of very fun. Man, new May is so much better than old May. Now she actually has a shooting ability. Her passing is still amazing, but you also support your teammates so that they don't give you bad passes, which allows for even more shooting from May. So yeah, May right now in the middle of very fun. She is a very fun character, and the glow up she had from being unfun and being very useless to being a really good point guard and very fun, you love to see it. You just love to see it. It's really, really good, and May deserves to be at the middle of very fun. Now, we have Mo Chen, and Mo Chen will also go on very fun, since not only does he have all of May's good abilities, to be fair, he has, he has flash shot, not really quick shot, but whatever. Flash shot still really good. Not only does Mo Chen have that, but he also has Lily's ability, of off-ball dash. So that means he can also trip others while being able to score for himself. And I think Mo Chen is a very underrated scorer. If he actually got into the hands of a great player who knows how to use him, man, not only will he be very effective, but he's going to be very, very fun to use. So yeah, Mo Chen is going to be our top very fun right now. Next up, we have Nana, and I know a lot of people will have Nana at enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie, I only actually have Nana at fun. If that is even if you are, a scorer, because in my opinion, in my list personally, I'd put her at meh. I'm just really not a fan of shooting point guards, but I do see the appeal. And if I do play with a Silver Wolf or a Randy and I get that wide open look, I'm not gonna lie, the dopamine rush is very nice to have. It's just I go monkey mode, I go tribal mode, like, ooh, wide open. Man, it's just so good. It's a great feeling, but if that doesn't happen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really having that much fun. I just really don't like using Nana that much, She's not fun for me. Now, next up, we have Neko. Neko, in my opinion, one of the most fun characters in the game out there because of her level 4 proactive intercept. I can see why people won't really have her enjoyable or very fun, really. I can see that. I can see why people will not actually even like Neko enough to actually put her here. Because she is a good point guard, but a lot of players don't actually like defense that much. I do. I am a big fan of defense. And that's why Neko is going to be at top of enjoyable for me, personally. I just really have fun trying to scare opponents with my steals. It's just really, really fun. Now, we have Takumi, and Takumi, man, I want him so much to be unenjoyable. If he had a jump stop shot, he would be at top of enjoyable, dude. Takumi is so fun. If he had jump stop shot, I'm telling you, he would be so enjoyable to use. But just because he can't score easily, just because he's not good at scoring at all compared to Marcus or Taylor, he's just gonna be at top of very fun. If he could actually score, I'm telling you, Takumi would be on top of enjoyable so easily. So easily. But since he doesn't actually have a jump stop shot, well, no. To me, it's just too frustrating to actually put him anything other or in enjoyable tier. If maybe for others more enjoyable, but the fact that he just can't score that well, especially compared to Marcus or Taylor, he's gonna have to go down a tier into just very fun. Like very, very fun. Again, if he had jump stop shot, he'd be on top of enjoyable, no question. Now, next up we have White. Even before the change, before the change, I would have put White at very fun, somewhere along high or middle. But after the change, I've actually tried this guy. That's what I said, right? Before I quit, all I'm gonna try is a Max Steel White build. And man, a Max Steel White build is so funny. It is so funny. I am cackling whenever I use it, because you're gonna get a lot of ridiculous steals. It's really funny. It's really fun. I have a lot of fun when I use White. Especially after that update, I actually had a lot of fun. Since I was just intercepting. Here's the thing, right? I got 3 intercepts per game in a 5-game span. In a 5-game span, I had 3 games where I had 3 intercepts per game. Yeah. In 3 games, I had 3 intercepts per game in a 5-game span. Granted, they were passing a lot, but that's the entire thing with White, right? He gets those. And man, was it fun. So I'm gonna have to put specifically Max Steel White on the very top of, or at the very bottom of enjoyable. Very, very fun character to use, especially after that change. Just so fun. So fun. Next up, we have Yasmin, and I don't really see why people think she's fun. Actually, no, here's the thing. I've had, friends that actually use Yasmin, and the truth is they don't really like using her either. They only use her because of her shooting bonus. That's really it. Sure, she has a quick shot basically. Let's not pretend. It's just a quick shot that's cheesier. But that's really about it. Her other skill is just a boost to her teammates. I don't see the fun in her. I think she's just very unfun. Again, very overpowered too. That makes her even lower in my opinion, but yeah, I'm putting Yasmin in unfun. I just don't see the appeal. Next up, we have Yui, and normally I would have put Yui on Chore, but after the change of giving her a rolling save, she's just so fun to actually dive with that honestly, I'm really struggling if she's at the very top of fun or very bottom of very fun, but for now we'll put her at the very top of fun. She's just such a fun character to dive with right now, but other than diving with her, I don't really see the appeal that much. Since, let's be honest, alley tree, or I should say alley-oop shot right now, you don't really want to keep using that. It might be very fun for you to keep spamming it. It's not going to be very fun for your shooting guard, especially if it's a Marcus. They need to dribble. Do not spam alley-oop shot. And again, besides diving, I'd say Yui is just fine. So we're gonna put her at the very top of very fun because that rolling save level 4 is just really fun. It really is. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into the shooting guards. Alright, so firstly we have Ayumi, and Ayumi isn't really the greatest character of all, and there's only one build that I think makes her very fun, and that's actually a max steel build. But if you're not using a max steel build, I actually would put Ayumi only on fun, you know? I'd only really put Ayumi on fun if you don't give her a max steel build. So a lot of characters or a lot of players don't actually do that. A lot of players do not put Ayumi or do not give Ayumi max steel. So I'll go with the majority with this one and just put her at very high fun. She's a very fun character if you have max steel. If you don't, she's not really that good offensively, and then her defense is not going to be as good because you didn't give her max steel, right? So that just sours the experience for me, at least in my opinion. So max steel Ayumi I would put at very fun, at the low very fun. But if you don't use it, you know, if you don't use a max steel build, then it's just a top of fun. I think that's a pretty fair placement for Ayumi. So next up, we have Black Crow. I'm not gonna lie, I would put him at no idea because I've never used him, but just looking at how he plays, I gotta say, he looks very fun. It looks like he would be at the very high, very fun. He just looks like such a fun character, especially that turnaround shot combined with behind the back. It just looks like you can do a lot of combos with him. I've always wanted to use him, never got him, and now I quit, so, you know, I'm never going to be using him, but he does look like a lot of fun. If I were able to use him, I think I would have had a lot of fun. I think I would have put him at very fun, because he does seem like a very fun character to use. Next up is Shern. Personally, I'd have her at meh, or maybe even Chore because of how much I suck at using her. But I know a lot of players can actually use her properly, and she looks like a lot of fun to use too. She does look like a lot of fun to use, especially for other players. It's just that I suck at using her, so I don't have as much fun. But I can see why people would think she's a lot of fun. That's why I'm putting her at the middle of very fun. I think she's a very fun character to actually use. Next up, whoa, what was that? Sheesh. Alright, next up we have Conan. Conan, I'd say I have actually used him, and he's fun enough, I should say, right? He's fun enough, but the thing with him is his most effective skill is Toss Dunk, which is a spam move, which is automatic, And in high tiers, I have seen a lot of people still use pull-up, but I've never really had that much fun with Conan. I really haven't. If I use him, there's a good chance we're winning, but did I have fun? Kinda. I think it was kind of fun, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna be putting Conan at high fun. It is kind of fun to use him, but it's just not as fun as other scorers, you know? Next up, we have David. And David is going straight, I'd say, just next to Black Crow. He's very fun to use, he is. He is a very fun character to use, especially in low tiers and low to mid tiers, because he's so effective. But once you get into high tier and you start facing those OP defenders, OP bigs, he gets shut down pretty quickly, and pretty quickly as well your fun dwindles. So it's gonna be very fun, because when he is viable, he is a lot of fun. But when he is not that viable, he's not really that much fun, since every shot feels like it's about to be blocked with how overpowered these defenders are, man. It's pretty insane. So yeah, I think this is pretty fair. He's just so much fun when he's viable, and he's just so not fun when he's unviable. So I'd say this is still pretty fair because of how much fun he really is when he is actually viable. Next up, we have Fire King, and not gonna lie, he's one of the best characters. Or one of my most used characters, I should say. And that's because it's for a good reason. He's really fun, in my opinion, to use. Especially if you don't rely on that 3-point screen thing. ISO Fire King in mid-range, one of the most fun characters to ever use. It's really fun. It's not the hardest to defend, but man, is it still fun to actually shoot with this guy. It's really fun. His dribbling is limited, but it's still so much fun to actually play Fire King, you know? And that's why I'm putting him in very high enjoyable. In my opinion, Fire King, one of the most fun characters in the entire game. Really fun. He's a very fun character to use. Next up, we have Friedman. In my opinion, still the most fun character in the entire game to use. Not the most effective 100%, but man is he fun. Friedman is very, very fun. He is one of the most fun characters in the entire game. In fact, in my opinion, the most fun character in the entire game. That's why we're putting him at the top of our list. He is going to be at the top of enjoyable. If you haven't used Friedman before, use him. I do recommend that you use him. Now, you're not going to be winning as much games with him, especially if you don't know how to actually use him effectively. But if you just want to have fun, man, I recommend that you use Friedman. He is very, very fun to use. Now, next up we have Hoy, straight into unfun. Even lower than Yasmin. Hoy is so inconsistent. They've tried to buff him multiple times, and those buffs still fail to actually make him viable because of how unfun and inconsistent he actually is to use. So he's going straight into unfun. Here's another mini story. I actually have an account called Gold Guard Underdog where I tried. My plan was to use Hoy, Bin, Howie, those characters that aren't actually used as much. And I first started with the Hoy. I had just such an awful time. I didn't have fun at all that I actually just quit with the idea like a day in. A day in and I already quit. That's how much, or I should say, how little fun I had, which was no fun at all. So yeah, Hoy is going straight into low on fun. Probably lowest. He's just not fun to use at all, in my opinion. Next up we have Jessica, and I'd say Jessica is solid enough, and I'd put Jessica, I'd say she's pretty fun, better than Conan in terms of fun. She's more fun, but it's because she's not actually really that good offensively. If your enemy knows how to defend Jessica properly, if they know zone defense, scoring with Jessica is actually pretty tough. But it's still actually pretty fun. You're still gonna have a lot of fun with her, especially if you try out stupid strategies. I think Jessica deserves this spot because it's not the most fun since you aren't the most powerful offensively, but it opens your team up for a lot of stupid strategies, stupid fun strategies. So yeah, I'm gonna put her at fun still. Very high fun. You know, we're gonna put Jessica at very high fun. Now we have Maggie. And Maggie just feels like a chore to use, you know. As a scorer, she's alright, but that's the problem. She's just alright. The game's dominated by overpowered characters right now, and her skill's not exactly the most fun to use either. So I don't really have much to say. Maggie has always been mid, and up to now, she's still mid, actually a little below mid, and it just feels like a chore to actually use Maggie. Next up is Marcus, one of the most fun scorers out there. Not really much to explain here. He's the king of dribbling. He's such a great scorer, such a great character, one of the most fun characters you could ever use. And best part, you can use him at a high tier as well, at high tier battles. If you use Friedman at high tiers, it's going to be actually a little hard to win those matches. But with Marcus, you have a pretty good chance of winning if you know what you're actually doing. So yeah, Marcus, I'd say deserves one of the highest in the enjoyable tier list. One of the highest ranks. So next up we have Mary. And Mary, I'd say if you really want to use her, you're gonna enjoy her. But if you don't really use her that often, she'd probably be a meh. A lot of characters don't actually want to use her that much. You barely actually see her. But if a character wants to use Mary, it's because they want to use Mary. You know? If they really just want to use Mary, it's because they legitimately enjoy her playstyle and they're gonna have a lot of fun. But most people just do not have fun with Mary. They just really don't like her style. And admittedly, I'm one of the players who actually don't use Mary at all either. Since her playstyle is not mine, I just don't think it's as fun. So I'm gonna be putting her personally at the meh tier. Because I wouldn't say she's unfun, but she's not really fun to look at, in my opinion either. Since her playstyle doesn't suit my playstyle, you know. So yeah, I'd say this is fair for Mary, in my opinion at least, to be at meh tier. Now next up we have Misaki, and I don't know. So a lot of players might have a lot of fun with her, but I just don't see her being that fun to use. In fact, I think she looks pretty unfun. So I'll put her at pretty low at the chore, you know, the chore rank. She just looks like she's gonna keep doing the same thing over and over. It's dribble to the left, and then use her ability. Dribble to the right, and then use her ability. Use a fake, dribble to the left, and then use her ability. Put a fake, dribble to the left, then right, then use her ability. Do a fake, go to the right, then use her ability. It just seems like it's the same thing over and over. It just doesn't really look that fun to me, and that's why I'm putting her at pretty low on the chore, because I do think some players will still have a lot of fun with her. It's just that I don't see it. I really don't see it. Next up, we have Silverwolf, and you know, as much as I hate the character, he does look like a lot of fun. He does look like a lot of fun to use, and as much as I hate Silverwolf, I gotta say, he does look like a lot of fun. Next up, we have Susan. Now, a lot of players actually use her on, I'd say training, but other than that, I don't really see any use for Susan. Her skill set, it's pretty fun, but she's just such an inconsistent character, and she's outclassed by so many that I just have to put her at chore. Personally, I don't see the too much hate for Susan. I don't see too much hate for her, but she just isn't that good to be used. Her skills, they're pretty good, but she's so inconsistent that I just had to put her at pretty high chore. I gotta say, I just really don't see a lot of fun with her. But that's just me personally speaking. Maybe maybe some of you guys actually have fun with Susan. I just personally don't. And lastly, at the shooting guards, we have Taylor. And if it wasn't for her bug, I'd easily give her enjoyable, but because of her bug, I see why a lot of people would actually enjoy using her, but I'm just so annoyed with her. I can't give her any higher than very fun, which is already very high. She's at the top of very fun. She just doesn't put or get into enjoyable just because of her bug. It seems really annoying to deal with on defense, and it feels undeserved to break someone's legs if it's just because of a bug. To break someone's ankles, I should say. It just doesn't feel deserved because you were just bugging. It wasn't because you did a very good dribble skill, a dribble combo. No, you were just bugging and that's why you actually broke his ankles. It just feels undeserved, and in my opinion, it just doesn't feel as fun. So yeah, we're gonna be putting Taylor on top of very fun, not quite unenjoyable because she is bugged. But yeah, that's it for the shooting guard characters. Let's go ahead and get into the small forwards. Alright, so firstly, let's get into it with Ben. And Ben, very fun dunks. Very fun dunks. It's really fun. But what's the point if half of them gets blocked? So he evens himself out and gets a meh rating. Very fun character, but he even himself out with just how bad he actually is and how easily his blocks get dunked by the simplest of defenders. The only reason he's not gonna keep getting blocked is if they use that screen strategy that you use with Zach, you use with Rena, you use with pretty much everybody. That's the only reason you're not gonna get blocked as Ben. But if you don't have that, you're just gonna keep getting blocked. So what's the point of having a fun skill set if you can't even, actually finish half of the time? So he's going to the top of meh. Next up, we have Butterball. Butterball, you might be asking, how are you gonna have fun with someone who doesn't even specialize in shooting? Because he specializes in sport. And that's by being a team player. You can have fun with Butterball by being a team player and being okay with your point guard being the main shooter or a shooting guard being your main shooter and Butterball being just the support. Actually, he did have a skill change. I believe he has Misaki's quick shot now, so that's really fun. That makes him even more fun. But even without that, he was already so fun, right? With how much he could support your teammates and how funny it looked, just looked very fun, and it was actually very fun. And now he even has a travel fake. So yeah, that makes it even more fun. So I'm gonna put Butterball at high middle of very fun. Next up, we have Dora, and she does actually look like a lot of fun for me, but personally not as much fun as other scorers. I wouldn't really make her as fun as other scorers or rank her as fun as other scorers, but she looks fun enough. Dora looks fun enough. I've never really used her, but her skills just look like you will have a lot of fun if you use her properly. And so I'm gonna put Dora at about the lower part of very fun, which means she actually still is very fun. Next up, we have Greta, and I have a lot of players, a lot of friends that say they have a lot of fun with Greta. I personally don't see it. I just really don't see it. her skill set just isn't meant for how I play the game. So personally, I would put her at meh or even a chore, because I don't really like using her. But a lot of players actually do like her, and they do have a lot of fun with her, so I'd say that evens it out, and she's gonna be placed at high fun tier. You know, I think she is actually a lot of fun if you know how to use her. It's just that I personally don't like her playstyle. It's not for me, but for some other players, it might be. It might be their playstyle. Next up, we have Havelock G. Now, Havelock, if you would have asked me before this entire Ace update and PFs being overpowered, not being able to be blocked by others, except if their centers or power forwards, I would have put Havelock at middle of very fun. But with the update and now SFs or Conan not being able to block power forwards anymore, he's gonna be dropped down, and I'd say just about the same level as Greta. Except this time I actually do find him pretty fun still, while others don't find him as fun. So again, he evens himself out, and I'd put him just slightly above Greta on the fun tier, but honestly, they're interchangeable. It's just that after the Ace update, he became less fun because he can't actually defend power forwards that much anymore. He's just gonna keep getting dunked on, like Conan. So yeah, he's gonna be put at this place, and I think that's fair. Now, next up we have Julian, and I gotta say, Julian's one of the most fun characters to score with out there because of his different skills. His skills are just so fun. They're meant for you to hold the ball and actually fake and shoot around. It makes him such a fun character to use because he's supposed to be a fun character. He's supposed to be a very mobile character, even with his low speed, which is why I still recommend that you give Julian speed. This guy's trash on defense if you don't give him speed. But yeah, Julian, very fun character, one of the most fun characters in the entire game. That's why I'm putting him here third right now, and at very high enjoyable. Very fun character. Next up, Camille, and man, look at that, another fun character. Camille's basically I'm gonna shoot in your face sort of character. That's it. That's his entire thing, and he's pretty good at it. And man, that off-ball dribble, that dash, that cut dribble move, it's so fun. One of the main reasons why Sure actually still very fun here at very fun tier, even though I hate Sure. I don't like using her because I suck at her. Camille also has cut dribble move, except I can actually use him, and man, it's a lot of fun to actually use Camille. He is a lot of fun. He is. Now, we have Luis, and a lot of players are gonna like Luis because it just covers for their bad skill. But I hate players like this who don't require any skill to actually use, since, you know, you can pretty much shoot any contested twos and it's gonna go in. Your contested threes have a good chance of going in. It's just not fun for me. I don't really see the appeal, but I wouldn't go as far as putting her down at Shore because her skills do seem pretty fun. So I'm just gonna put her at top of meh, at almost fun, but the grudge I have against her is too high. She's the final straw basically that made me quit the game, so she's just going at the top of meh, at almost fun. Next up we have Martin, one of the most fun characters out there as well. His playstyle is actually, I'd say, similar to that of another character that we're gonna be talking about in the future, or should I say in a few minutes. Jeez. But yeah, Martin is very fun. He's got that jab step, he's got pull up, he's got drift, or not drift, he's got sprint dunk. It's really good. His skill set is built for scoring, for multiple kinds of scoring like Friedman, which is why he is here at very high enjoyable. He's a very enjoyable character. Next up, we have Natalie. And I would have actually put, Natalie in just very fun. Or, I'm sorry, in just fun. I would have put Natalie in just fun at probably middle or something. But with her sprint dunk change, I would actually say that Natalie now deserves to be at very fun. She does actually deserve to be at very fun. Granted, still not the highest. I'd say she's more fun than Lily, but not Dora. Granted, still not the highest, but still very fun right now, especially after the change, because, you know, now she can actually sprint dunk. That just is a lot of fun. So I'm going to be putting Natalie at very fun. And I think she's deserving of that spot. Next up, we have Nico. Nico, in my opinion, gets too much hate. I don't think he's as bad as people, you know, say he is. But I really don't think he's the greatest character either. I wouldn't say he's overpowered, and you know what? I enjoy that about him. I respect that. But more importantly, his skills are actually pretty fun looking. He can alley-oop with his shooting fake. And that's just so fun, dude. It's really fun to actually mess around this. I've never actually used him, but from what I saw, he just looks like a lot of fun. He looks like a lot of fun, you know? Nico just looks like a lot of fun for me. And that's why I'm gonna be putting him, I'd say, just slightly above May, you know? Slightly above May, not quite as fun as sure, but pretty fun and above May. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair for Nico. If your goal is only to have fun, you're gonna have a good time with Nico. Next up, Kiang. I have mixed feelings about this guy, since it's hard to describe, but he's basically just a jack of all trades, right? But not in a fun way like Friedman. He's a jack of all trades where you literally can build him with anything. He can be a 3-point build kind of character, a mid-range build, or a slashing build. He's just so interchangeable. You can pretty much mold him to whatever you want him to do. And because of that, I'd say this depends on you, but because of the availability of actually changing him around and what he is supposed to do is in your hands, I'm gonna say he's just between Greta and Conan, and he's going to be at the middle of fun. You know, I think he's fun enough. He's just not the most fun character to use out there. Next up, Randy. Now, Randy, if I was asked how I feel when using him, I'd say chore. I really don't enjoy using him that much, but you know, my friends really enjoy using Randy, and I see why they would enjoy using Randy. And he was the one that I was talking about that was very similar to Martin in terms of how they actually try to score, but I'd say Randy just isn't as fun because he doesn't have pull-up, and pull-up is a big reason why those characters are fun. But I can see the appeal when using Randy, so I'm just gonna put Randy at about high part of very fun, slightly high middle part of very fun. I think that's a fair placement for Randy. He's not the type of character I like to use, but I can see the appeal. I can see the appeal on why a lot of people will think Randy is fun. Next up is Rika. Defense portion, I'd put her at enjoyable, but with her unstoppable mid-range attack, it's not for me. Again, you know, I hate OP characters, but some people will enjoy that even more, which is why I still won't be that biased. And I'd still put Rika at the middle of very fun. Personally, what I really like about her is her defense, but I'm sure a lot of people like her for her offense. because it's so unstoppable, it's so cheesy. So I'm not gonna be too biased, and we're gonna put her in the middle of very fun. You know, I can still see the appeal. I can still see the appeal of using Rika. Next up, Zilong, and to be honest, I had no idea. He looks like a lot of fun, okay? He looks like a lot of fun. But I'm not gonna lie, I just don't have any idea how Zilong would use, because he seems like such a complicated character. You know, he seems like you can do a lot with him, but he looks so complicated compared to other characters. There just seems like a lot of untapped potential, and I just can't really get that since I don't have Zilong himself. I really don't have Zilong, so I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea. If you do have Zilong, let me know. You have a lot of fun with him or just a little bit of fun, let me know. But yeah, that is it for the small forwards, and now we're gonna move on to the power forwards. Alright, so let's start off with Alto. And Alto, as much as I hate OP characters, in my opinion, he's very fun to use. I see myself having a lot of fun with Alto. To be more specific, with his defense, you know. Alto's defense, he's such a great dunk blocker, and he's a very good shot blocker as well. And offensively, lightning dunk, as OP as it is pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. It is pretty fun to actually use it. It's very simple, you don't have to do anything complicated. So I'm still gonna put Alto at enjoyable, not just at the highest, you know. I'm gonna put him at low enjoyable, slightly above white, but not more fun than Silver Wolf. But yeah, Alto, as much as I hate OP characters, in my opinion, is a pretty fun character. Now, next up we have Amanda. And, you know, she has the skill set to be such a fun character, but she is so easily blockable compared to Rika that it's still unfair. And I can't put her any higher than the lowest of very fun. Amanda can be such a fun character, but they just don't want to buff her properly and nerf Rika properly. They just don't want to talk about it because they're their moneymaker. They just don't want to talk about it. They're just gonna keep ignoring it, and that's why Amanda's just gonna keep being at the lowest part of very fun. In fact, I think a lot of people hate using her because, yeah, Rika is just such a better defender and such a better shooter that Amanda just is not fun compared to her. So yeah, she's going to be stuck at the very bottom of very fun. Unless they change and buff Amanda properly and nerf Rika properly, nothing's gonna change. She's gonna be stuck at this position, and I think that's fair. Next up is Edward. And man, Edward, in my opinion, is just so unfun. You know, a little bit more fun than Yasmin, but overall still unfun. You just do the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Literally the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over. Toss dunk and lightning dunk through a screen. That's your entire shtick. Over and over and over and over and over. It gets really old. It's just unfun. It really is. It's very unfun. And the thing is, I do have him. I do have him on one of my accounts. I don't have fun using him. Next up, we have Elise. And as much as I hate OP characters, as much as I hate it, I'm not gonna lie, Elise looks like a lot of fun. She's the most OP character in the game right now, in my opinion at least. And she just seems like a lot of fun because of her great defense. That doesn't make her a fair or good character. Again, they have to nerf her and make her dash have a 15-second or even longer cooldown, you know? I'd say, honestly, 18 seconds is actually way more fair. Anything less than 15 seconds is just way too short. I've said this before. And I still stand by it. Anything less than 15 seconds in cooldown is not enough. It is way too short. And I think 18 would actually be the best. An 18-second cooldown seems fair to me. But even without that, or even with that, by the way, even with that cooldown, I'd still put Elise at about middle of enjoyable because of just how fun she actually is to use, or at the very least look fun to use. She just seems like a lot of fun. And I'd say it's still going to be the same even if she gets those nerfs, so just nerf her. Don't do it for me, do it for the, future players of this game, so that they don't actually get too frustrated with the OP defense. So yeah, Elise, in my opinion, right now at the middle of enjoyable. And if she's nerfed, she's staying at the middle of enjoyable, maybe even better, because guess what? She's not OP now, and some characters or some players actually will appreciate that more. Some equals me, basically. But yeah, right now I'd say she's at the middle of enjoyable. And if she gets nerfed, she's still staying here. That's how much fun she actually is to use. So next up we have Katyusha. And if we were talking about old times Katyusha, I darn near say she's actually very fun. But right now, she's obsolete. She's just no match against others, so she's not being used. And with the OP defenders, her skills are not that good either anymore, since she's easily stopped. So we're just gonna put her at the bottom of fun. She's almost mad because of how bad they've screwed her over. Unless they do some proper rebalancing, revamping, like I said. Unless they do that, Katyusha's staying here and I'm staying out of SBA. I'm coming back maybe if they actually fix their trap, but if they don't, no, I'm not coming back. And Katyusha will still just be here at the very bottom of fun. Next up is Lightning. It's the same deal with Edward, just a little bit more fun because Lightning's animation is actually cool, but it's pretty much the exact same thing. Close dunk, just keep using that close normal dunk, bug them out and go through them if you don't jump instantly, and throw in a couple of double pump dunks there so that you don't get blocked every single time. It's the exact same thing over and over. It's not fun. I have him, I don't have fun with him. So no, I'm gonna put Lightning at unfun. Next up is Lucy. Again, kind of like these two, except hers is a little bit more interactive and hers looks a little bit cooler than these two's. So she gets a little higher, but it's the exact same thing. Euro step dunk, and then if not, Euro step double pump dunk. It's the exact same thing over and over and over and over. You just keep repeating that over and over and over and over. Next up, Nikolai. In my opinion, one of the best characters to use out there. Very fun. Hold on, actually that's a little too high. I'm not gonna get bias get in the way of proper ranking, okay? Nikolai's my favorite character, but I'm not gonna let bias get over this, but yeah. If you're a fan of defense and you like defensive characters, Max Speed Nikolai is the most fun character you can use in the game. Max Speed Nikolai is the most fun character ever to use in the game if you are actually a player who appreciates defense. Max Speed Nikolai is so fun, shutting down characters, being able to block, contest them, make them miss. It's very satisfying. That's why, in my opinion, Nikolai deserves to be at the very, very high enjoyable tier. Not the best. Friedman and Marcus, I'd say, are still way more fun to use, but on defense, man, Nikolai is so fun to use. More respect to be more clear, just Speed Nikolai. Alright, Max Speed Nikolai. That is the most fun defensive character in the game, in my opinion. Max Speed Nikolai, very fun. Next up is Pinky. And, you know, as sick as it sounds, without her bugged moves, Pinky becomes even more boring because she has less moves, but I still prefer this. I still think this is a good thing, but yeah, in my opinion, it's just the same too. It's the same. Use a smart dunk, or use a post board, or use a normal dunk. That's it. Use those, and that's it. Just keep on dunking over and over, do the same thing over and over again. Not really much to say, just a little bit more interactive than Lucy's, which is a bit more interactive than Lightning's, which is a little more cool looking than Edward's. Yeah, you know, can you already tell I hate dunkers? Alright, next up we have Ranger. Pretty much Max Block Ranger, one of the most fun defensive characters out there as well. Became way more unfun because of one character that we're gonna get into in just a little bit. Became way more unfun because of all the hard work you pour into making a Max Block Ranger. One character is just gonna ruin it, but we'll talk about him later. For now, it's still worth it. I'd say Max Block Ranger. Max Block in particular, by the way. Max Block Ranger deserves to be at very high enjoyable because it is. It's very enjoyable when you chase a shooter who are not good at, faking. He shoots a shot, you reach it from very far, they're confused. It's very fun. Next up, we have Reno. It's the same with this, except... Oh yeah, here's a little thing I want to change, by the way. Someone asked me on the CI, right, what's the most effective scoring strategy right now, and I said it's Edward. I take it back, it's Renos, because Renos not only is harder to block, but also he has defensive capabilities. That's why he's actually more fun than Pinky. His dunk is even more repeatable, so it's more boring, but at the very least you do have defense with Reno, which makes him even more OP. Unfortunately, that also makes him more fun, but not fun enough to where you're not gonna feel like your brain's dying because you're spamming the same thing over and over. It's unfun. Reno is still unfun. I don't see the appeal on Reno, so I'm just gonna give him unfun. Next up we have Rocket, and as weak as he is right now, there's bias, I know, okay? I know there's bias, but I'm still gonna put him at the middle, slightly high, I'd say in enjoyable tier, if you're doing a rebound build Rocket. It's still just so much fun actually getting those rebounds and putting them back in. I don't know, I just really have fun with Rocket. I don't know why. I know it's not as effective as others, but I just have so much fun with Rocket. This is 100% biased. I don't know why I feel this way, I just do. So next up, we have the girl, the new character. I don't actually remember her name. We have girl, and I have no idea. I haven't seen her used. I played with her a couple times, I'd say again, with the whites. And basically, she just has a shot. Also, I'm just happy that I was actually wrong with interpreting the off dash or cut dribble move change. I thought that meant you could use it on defense. No, it just means that if not your teammates nor the enemies have the ball, you can actually dash towards the ball. That's just the change, so that's fine with me. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. This character, I already forgot her name. She just doesn't look OP, and that makes me happy, but I haven't seen enough of her to really know if she's fun or unfun to use, so I'm gonna put her at no idea. Next up we have Uncle Kevin. Uncle Kevin's moveset, it's really fun. Really, really fun. Extremely fun. But it's so incredibly easy to stop. Just like Bin, just a little bit more fun than Ben. I'd say Uncle Kevin is going on meta tier because of how easy it is to stop him, but his skill set is actually very fun. So next up we have Zachary, and I'd say it's just below Reno just because Zachary doesn't have defensive capabilities. You know, Reno actually has that block intercept, is it? He actually has that better block. Zachary does not. But, you know, his entire shtick is the same as all these other guys. It's just dunk through a screen. That's it. That's his entire shtick. And the only reason he's lower than Reno is because he doesn't have a special block. That's it. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that's all the power forwards in the game. And now we're gonna go to the final category, which are the centers. Alright, so for the centers, let's first talk about Allen. Now, Allen has a lot of fun skills. He does. But it's more so fun for the shooters who receive his passes than it is to actually use Allen. And so I'm actually just gonna put Allen at the top of fun. I wouldn't really say he's very fun to use, particularly because his speed is actually very bad. He's a pretty slow center, and so defensively he's actually not that fun. When it comes to passing, he has some pretty fun skills, but again, it's more so fun for the scorers than it is for Allen himself. So I'm gonna put Allen at the very top of fun. Almost very fun, but just because he makes it more fun for the shooters than for himself, we're just gonna keep him at fun, but at the very top of fun. Next up is Amy, and you'd think with my reasoning I'd also put Amy here, right? No, not really. Her rebounding, her style of rebounding just is not as fun as others, and I wouldn't go as far as saying it's actually bad or would feel like a chore, but it's certainly not the most fun. You know what? We're gonna put Amy at the very top of almost fun. We're gonna put her at almost fun. She's almost at fun, but just because of how weak she is compared to other rebounders and her rebound style really not being that fun, we're gonna be putting her at the top of meh. Next up, we have Andrew. Now Andrew, I still stand by this. I think he's very underrated, and from the looks of it, he looks like a very fun character to use. I'd say he's probably more fun than Rika. I've never actually used him, but he looks like a lot of fun to actually use. So yeah, I'm gonna put Andrew there because rebound-wise, he's still very fun. Defense-wise, he's really fun from the looks of things. And even his support, his weird pick and roll thing, I think it looks really good. It seems like you can do a lot of unique strategies with it. So we're gonna put Andrew at the middle of very fun. He looks like a very fun character. Now Big Mike I wouldn't put at unfun, but he definitely feels like a chore when you use him compared to other characters. He's such a bad center compared to these OP characters, these OP bigs, that it just feels like a chore when you're using him. Again, it's not unfun. You can do some pretty stupid things with him and it's pretty funny. It's pretty fun, but overall, it's just not a fun time to actually use Big Mike compared to when you use other characters. So yeah, we're just gonna put him at the very bottom of chore because he just feels like he's not fun. He is not fun to use. It just feels like a chore to use him. Next up is Big O, and I'm gonna put Big O at pretty fun. I put him at enjoyable. I actually enjoy using Big O a lot. I really do have a lot of fun. It's just that compared to other bigs, his viability is very questionable, you know? They did buff him, but he's still at questionable with how overpowered the other characters are as right now. So yeah, we're gonna put Big O at very enjoyable because his skills are actually really satisfying to use. It's just that it's not the most effective. It's just very fun to actually use him, but it's not the most effective at all. Next up is Big Joanne, and she has some really fun skills. She does, but she also has some very boring skills. And I just put her, I'd say, lower than Amy. She's just boring. She's just boring. She's got some very fun skills, but some that are just unfun too. And I'd say Big Joanne is just boring. She's a forgettable character, basically. If they change rebounding, I don't know, maybe to actually remove Flick, being able to bypass screens, you know, a good idea like that, I'd say Big Joanne would have such an improvement that she'd immediately be used by everybody, you know, if only they did a change like that. But for now, Big Joanne is going to meh. Next up is Daisuke, and if you know what you're doing with Daisuke, you're gonna have a lot of fun with him. I said in the past before, just give him pure power, but that's if you want to keep actually blocking those dunks. If you're fine with not blocking those dunks and getting dunked on because you have Tough Guy, giving Daisuke max speed is actually so fun. I've actually noticed that. Giving Daisuke max speed, when you have Tough Guy, it's very fun to actually move around and blocking with him. He's surprisingly good as a mini Nikolai, speed Nikolai. Obviously, still not as good, still not as fun, but man, it's pretty good. It's pretty fun. I do have a lot of fun with that, and that's why I'm putting him at enjoyable. I'd say he's actually above White too, Max Steel White. It's pretty fun. Max Speed Daisuke, I really do recommend it if you have Tough Guy. But if you want to keep blocking those dunks, stay with Max Powered Daisuke, which isn't as fun. But yeah, if you want to have a lot of fun with Daisuke, which I've had a lot of fun with him, just use Max Speed Daisuke. And make sure you have Tough Guy, and you're gonna have a lot of fun with Daisuke. Next up was Emily, and I'd put her at almost very fun too. Just like Alan, he's almost there. Okay, he's almost at very fun. She's almost at very fun. It's just that she's really overpowered, you know. With Alan, the reason is because the shooter's the one that's actually having more fun than Alan himself. But with Emily, it's because of personal matters. She's just too OP, in my opinion. Technically, not even the most OP big, but her skill is just, it shuts down shooters too much. And to me, that just deducts points a little bit. Again, I appreciate defense, but when they're overpowered defense, I just really don't have as much fun. It's just not as much challenge as I would like. But yeah, Emily's almost there. Maybe if they nerfed her a little bit, it'll be a bit more challenging and I'd appreciate it a bit more. But for now, she's going on fun tier and almost very fun. Emma, I'd say one of the most fun bigs out there, especially if you like support defense. If you like playing support defense, support teammates. If you like supporting your teammates, if you like playing support a lot, you're gonna enjoy using Emma a lot. You're gonna have a lot of fun with Emma if you like using support. If you like setting screens, giving good passes, and getting those rebounds immediately passing back, you're gonna like Emma a lot. And that's my sort of gameplay. That's my style of gameplay. And that's why I recommend Emma a lot. She's being placed at middle of enjoyable. She's just a really fun character. Next up is Howie. Probably the most unfun character in the game. If only they would rework him, right? 3 years. Actually, not just 3 years. 3 years and 3 quarters. And still no changes to Howie. Nice. Next up is Malik. This is the character that I said that ruined Ranger, okay? He's the guy that ruined Ranger. Because if you need max block for Ranger to actually do his thing, you just need level 4 flying block for Malik and that's it. He can pretty much do the exact same thing. You just need level 4 for him. and you can put the rest into power or maybe rebound. So yeah, he seems like a lot. He seems like a lot of fun, sure, but I just don't have the heart to actually give him any more than fun. He just ruins Max Black Ranger so much, and he trivializes a lot of shooting. Shooters really hate this character for a good reason. Malik just shuts them down, and even with that nerf, it's still not enough. They gotta lower it a bit more. They really do. But I'm not gonna lie, he does look a lot of fun compared to other new characters or to other characters, so we're still gonna put him at fun, at about high middle of fun, you know? Just a bit better than Havoc, but not as fun as running around with Jessica. Next up is Robbie, and I see why people would think he's a lot of fun. Defensively, he's really good, and with support too, he's really good. It's just that I'm not really a fan of Robbie's, entire thing, which is being overpowered. Again, I'd put him at very fun, but he's so overpowered that he's even lower than Emily in my opinion. If they nerf him properly, maybe then he'd be on very fun. But for now, I don't know. I just hate overpowered characters so much. He's just gonna go on very high fun tier. Next up is Sarah. Usually I'd put her at very fun, but with how broken the bigs have been and how easier it's been to actually block her hook shot, she 100% goes down to just being fun, at the low mid of fun. That's how bad things have gotten for Sarah, because of how overpowered blockers have been. So yeah, Sarah is just gonna be sitting at low mid tier or low mid fun tier of this tier list. Next up is Vanessa. 100% very fun to actually use. I'd say she's high middle, just behind Martin. She's very fun. She's still one of the most fun bigs to play in the game. You just have to keep pressing rebound, and most of the time you're still gonna get that rebound. It's basically like playing early Rocket. Except early Rocket was still 10 times more fun, but yeah, it's sort of like early Rocket, so that's why it's very fun to actually use Vanessa, and that's why she's going on high mid enjoyable. She's just still a very fun character. And for Victor, I have put him on very fun, but with how easy it is to actually overpower him with these overpowered characters, I'm gonna put him at the very top of fun and almost very fun if he just gets a few more buffs. I just think that Victor has so much potential that's wasted because, he's being ignored. These broken characters are being released. So that's gonna put him down a tier, almost at very fun. But for now, he's just gonna be at the very top of fun. He's almost there. He just needs a little bit more buffs. But yeah, that's it for the fun tier list of SBA. That's it for the fun tier list, and this is the final video that I'm ever going to make of SBA if they don't actually fix their crap. If they don't actually revamp the rebounding system, if they don't nerf characters who deserve it, Elise, Robbie, Rika, even Malik, especially Rena right now, Yasmin still, Becky's defense overpowered. If they don't fix any of this, I'm not going to be returning, and this is going to be the final video for SBA. So if you guys have any other games that you want to see me play, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, and I'll be sure to check them out. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it useful. Make sure to try out any of the characters here. These are legitimately fun characters, the ones that are enjoyable. Very fun to use, and fun. You might see some joy using them. And please just avoid these characters unmature and unfun. I have no idea about Zilong and the other new character. Just haven't played that much with them, so I have no idea. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you've been entertained by it somehow, and I'll catch you on the next one.